Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you are all well. I thought I'd sneak one in. Because you guys are absolutely amazing and you deserve it. And I was supposed to do a live, but due to Amazon, I couldn't do it. And it's been delayed until Sunday. And I found out where the balloons come from. Apparently, if I do that and do the peace sign, I'll get balloons. There you go, look. Get balloons if I do the peace. I didn't know that. I genuinely thought I was cracking up earlier. But yeah, we get balloons. Anyway, what am I here for? What am I here to give you some meat and potatoes, as we've had Bryan Kohberger, who has been in court, so I thought I'd address it. I thought I'd touch base with you. Most of you may even know how that went. Some of you might not. But let's get straight into it. So, first of all, we've got a situation where the judge is allowing cameras. To be fair, I don't think he really had a choice. I genuinely don't think he had a choice. At the end of the day, this is about justice. It's about transparency. We've got the family who, Steve Gonsalves especially, has shown very vocally that he wants for everyone to see it. And I think that's how it should be. At the end of the day, Bryan Kohberger is going to go to court, which we'll touch on in a second. But realistically, in order for when this all plays out and the dust settles, for everybody to be satisfied, there has to be that transparency. There has to be. If they'd have done everything behind closed doors, I saw earlier on in the day, now Brian Enton had done a post over on X, and he had stated that there was a rumour going about that they were going to be banning phones, going to be banning tablets, all that sort of stuff from the courtroom. Everyone lost their fucking mind. Of course they did, because immediately it starts what are they trying to hide? Why is everything around this case seemingly so cloak and dagger? And look, I've been a massive advocate for innocent until proven guilty, and I am. I'm not a supporter of Bryan Kohberger. I'm a supporter of the system. And regardless of what anybody says, what anybody thinks, which I genuinely don't give a fuck about, is that I want the right persons to be held accountable. I have always, from the beginning, believed that Bryan Kohberger was involved somehow. My main bone of contention is the feeling that he had help or had support of some description, whether that be in the form of someone feeding him knowledge about the home, the evening in particular, and who was in there. And I'll be touching on that tomorrow. And we'll be touching on that because I feel that there is some evidence that perhaps there was more going on here. But right now, let's wind it in and just say, look, we just want justice and for everybody involved to be held completely accountable. And I want to see that play out. I want to see how the system works in this. And if Bryan Kohberger is the person who done it, then put him front and centre and let the world watch him burn. If that's what it is, that's what it is. But don't do things behind closed doors because it leaves too many questions at the end of it. But with that being said, so it brings me to the final point of the video, and that is that we know why he was there. They were there to get the grand jury indictment thrown out. They had voiced about prosecutorial misconduct and all this, and stating primarily that the instructions given to the grand jury were in fact the wrong instructions. And Judge John Judge has bitten back. We're going to look through the timeline. There's been a timeline as this has been going on. So we'll touch on it together. Look. It says, Judge denies Kohberger defense motion to throw out grand jury indictment. Judge John Judge has denied the defense team's motion to throw out the grand jury indictment against Kohberger, and the court adjourned for the day. It says the prosecution is now arguing why the grand jury indictment against Kohberger should not be thrown out. There is nothing to see here. The Idaho Supreme Court has ruled on this issue. His argument lasted less than 2 minutes. And this is what it says up here. If I scroll here, look, Kohberger's defense is arguing the grand jury was given the wrong instructions. But Judge John Judge says it is the same instruction given to grand juries for 100 years. Attorney J. Lodgson is trying to pick apart the precedent on what grand juries need for an indictment, and that the standard of proof should include more than just probable cause. KXLY reporter Jordan Smith tweeted from the courtroom, Mr. Lodgson believes the standard for an indictment should be elevated to beyond reasonable doubt. And we'll talk about that in a second, but yeah, basically it went through. It said Judge John Judge made an unexpected decision during the hearing, announcing that he will not ban cameras in the courtroom for the Bryan Kohberger case. He said cameras will stay in the courtroom, though he will take more control of them. And that was the timeline. So this grand jury indictment situation seems to be the bone of contention for many, myself included. I feel, and this grand jury system, in my opinion, is archaic. It is archaic. We should have had a preliminary hearing in this case. It would have given everybody the opportunity to go and lay their case forward and for the arguments to be had then before it turned into this. Because it has turned into a circus ever since the grand jury indictment was actioned. And again, I just find it archaic in its nature. And to me, it just reeked of a point where the defense team was reaching out for a potential witness who potentially had exculpatory evidence, and as soon as that cropped up, we then have this grand jury indictment, and the timing just seemed off. It did seem off, and perhaps it was just coincidental, but it didn't seem coincidental. And when you've got the gag orders around everything as well, and everything seemingly being hidden, just everything being hidden, it leaves a bit of taste in the mouth. And even though we're not, we how can I say, they're not obligated to tell us anything, you could argue that and say, no, you are obligated to tell the American public what is going on, because the court system belongs to them. That is there. That is theirs. And anything that goes through there, when you're talking about justice should be transparent. And I just feel that this archaic system with this grand jury and this secret cloak and dagger type system goes completely against the fundamentals of a court system and true and thorough justice with that transparency. But anyway, let me know down below what you think, because that's what we've got. So far, cameras will be in the courtroom. Massive, massive win. I don't really know what to say about the grand jury indictment. It is what it is. We're going to get to take this to court now. Hopefully they're not going to drag their heels, and this is going to be something that puts these poor families in a position where they've got to now wait for a year, 2 years, God knows how long down the road. This has got to be, if the prosecution are in a position where they feel that they've got the right man, they've got everything they need, they've got their ducks all in a row, get in court, get it done, and get this guy banned. If that's what you can do, do it. I'll see you all tomorrow.